every time I set that boundary and stand firm in my self-worth, I get an opportunity so much bigger and better and more aligned because I'm letting God know, yeah, I'm ready. My bad for playing small all that time, God. I got that out of my system. I'm ready for the next level. Hey y'all, it's Chimdi. I'm back with the red lip. Let me know in the comments if you appreciate it. If you're watching, you already know that this is for you. And in this video, we're gonna be talking about setting healthy boundaries because I finally figured out how to do it, y'all. I finally figured it out. I've made a few videos on the channel before. I'm just like, I'm really gonna try to stop people pleasing. I'm still really trying hard, but now I'm in South Africa. And I had this process called a compassion key with the lovely Dr. V. I'll include her website below. Liz is a friend of mine, and she's someone who's also doing a timeless wisdom training. And she's doing this separate program called Compassion Key. And she offered to give me a compassion key. And I was like, very resistant in my heart. I was like, I don't wanna. Because I knew it would like bring up a lot of stuff. And it was so funny saying it out loud because I'd be like, I don't know if I'm ready to receive compassion. I think I just want to stay in this wounded state that I'm in. But of course, my integrated higher self prevailed. The way the process works is you kind of pick one key younger part of yourself and you give that person compassion. I had a few different things that I wanted to work on, and there are things that I've talked about on the channel. One of the main things involved an opportunity that I've talked a lot on the channel about. It's an opportunity that on the outside and on the inside was very cool and very interesting and very expansive and very fun. And at the same time, I really struggled with. I was really having trouble reconciling the extent to how much I really struggled with the experience. Until I did this compassion key, and one thing I sort of reflected to her was actually some of the ways that the experience was structured actually re-traumatized me because of the stuff that I hadn't healed from my childhood. And so I actually had unconsciously found myself in a situation where I was repeating traumatizing cycles from the past. And so during the compassion key, which involves you saying, I am so sorry to like these younger parts of yourself, one of the things she had me say was, I am so sorry you were re-traumatized. I am so sorry that you were intentionally re-traumatized. Saying that out loud, because not only are you recognizing that something even happened in the first place, but then you're saying, and I'm sorry, because we know how it is in life, like so many times things happen to us and we never get any kind of recognition, much less apology for it. So the process of giving ourselves the compassion that we needed all those times when we were younger is very transformative. And I'm seeing now how transformative it is because truly over the weekend, y'all, I exited out of so many different opportunities that I realized were not motivated by pure intentions and were not actually aligned with how I should be spending my time and my energy. And I know I only had the actual courage to set those boundaries because I had done this work of looking at these past hurts and pouring love and compassion and forgiveness on myself for these past hurts. It's so important that that's named, that it's not just a matter of like saying the boundary or like just giving the boundary. Like there's a whole reason why in the first place the boundary has to be set. Something Thomas Hubel talks about is this idea that when you embody a boundary, you don't have to say anything because people feel it. They feel the boundary and they know not to overstep that boundary. My friend, she actually saw Thomas Hubel in like the airport, just wandering around by himself, like no security, nothing. And everyone knew, because we were like a lot of people from TWT were there, everyone knew not to fucking talk to him. Like everyone knew to leave his ass alone because he so embodied that boundary of like, yeah, I'm in the airport, I'm minding my business. I think it was after the training. It's like, the training is over, y'all. I'm a person, like, leave me alone. He embodied the boundary so it didn't have to be spoken. What really allowed me, because it's hard, especially when the two opportunities that I decided, like, actually this is no longer aligned for me, are things that involve other people, that involve other people's resources, other people's time. The people pleaser version of me would have said, well, you agreed to this experience, you agreed to offer this service. It doesn't matter how you feel now. It doesn't matter that your values have changed. It doesn't matter that your priorities have changed. Because you made this prior agreement, this other person's time, this other person's energy, this other person's resources, they are more important than your own soul. Which when you say it out loud sounds fucking crazy, but that was truly how I was used to operating. What my friend told me was that, you know, when we heal these parts of ourselves, this is kind kind of what really shook me is I didn't understand I had put myself in a situation to be re-traumatized because I had not healed the original trauma, because it was unconscious. So I didn't even know what I was doing consciously because it was just running my life. And I was kind of, reflecting to her like, oh, it's really hard though to make these decisions. And she was saying that when we heal, we are stopping this abuse from happening again. And I was like, okay. And that's really what got me, was like, I really honor and value my responsibility to take care of my heart and my soul and my spirit. We are life and we are precious. And it's our responsibility to really honor how precious each of us is. That's a big reason why I'm healing, is because I don't want to be hurting other people because I'm unconscious saying and doing wild things. And I do not want to be hurting myself because I don't even understand that I'm being put in these situations that are ultimately going to hurt me because they're coming from a fear place, a pain place, a hurt place, and looking for love externally place. And now that I know that, it's my responsibility to do better. And now that I know, I can actually make a choice, because I wasn't really making choices. My unconscious fears were driving me. That's what really gave me the courage to set those boundaries this past weekend. And I wanted to sort of honor the nature of the opportunities by not getting into the details in this moment. Give me some time, y'all. I'm sure I'm gonna get into it at some point. But in this moment, I won't speak too much about the specifics of it. This morning, I actually found myself on Aaron Doty's Instagram, Facebook, Meta, they always know. They're like, oh, you loving yourself, girl? Listen to this white man who talks about loving himself. And I'm like, what you got to say? And I'm like, these are some good points, because his whole thing is very much sort of how we magnetize and attract the life we want. And it all comes down to not being attached to it, not saying that it's only once we get these things outside of ourselves that we can be happy and that we can be free. The people who get what they want are the ones who already have everything they want in their heart. I know there's a Bible verse about that, like those who have a lot, even more will be given. Those who have little, even that will be taken away. That speaks this idea that we are connected to God. We have everything. There's nothing outside of us that can give us any kind of satisfaction the way God's love can. I also just started reading Rumi. My friend loves Rumi, and I was like, who is this Rumi person? Let me see. Wow, powerful stuff. Also, I went to this bookstore and I walked in and I was like, do you have any Rumi? And I could see the shopkeeper's eyes go like, okay, taste. And I was like, yes. So there's still a part of me that thrives on the external validation of others. And I want to make it seem like I've like totally gotten over that and I'll never deal with that problem ever again. But in a really, really big way, I've been able to pull back this energy that I was letting sort of other people have because I didn't really understand how valuable it was. And that's a big thing that I shared it with a coaching client. I do creative coaching. I shared it with a coaching client, and what I've learned is truly all the coaching I do for other people is coaching for myself. I'm just coaching myself through these people. And something I shared with this person was all around our light and our energy. Sometimes we get into this habit, if we have clients, of thinking we're in school and we're like, oh, I really hope that I finish this assignment and they like it, like we think that they have all the power. We're lucky, we're so lucky that they let us do this thing for them. A big thing I've realized, and I'm seeing it, I'm embodying it now more and more, is actually I and my lights are incredibly valuable. And if you don't want to appropriately, recognize the worth, then I can take my light and keep it right here in my heart and be happy here. Like I don't need anything outside of me. So if I'm making a choice to pour into a program, a service, an offering, an event, whatever it is, that is me saying like, oh, my energy is worth this. What people are really paying you for when they hire you for a service is they're paying for the light from God that you have embodied to the point where someone can say to you, hey, please make this thing for me. And you're like, yeah, I'll make this for you. And you know it will be good because you have embodied the light and you're literally, you are proof that you are about what you say. I feel really grateful that I understand that now because I'm less likely to engage in opportunities and experiences that don't actually recognize just how much I'm bringing to the table. And what I found in my own experience is every single time I say to myself and to whatever person or organization or company I'm working with, wait a minute, I deserve a lot. And this ain't it. Every time I set that boundary and stand firm in my self-worth, I get an opportunity so much bigger and better and more aligned because I'm letting God know, yeah, I'm ready. My bad for playing small all that time, God. I got that out of my system. I'm ready for the next level. And God is like, bet, I was just waiting on you, girl. Here's the next thing. It's happened time and time and time and time again. And that's what has me really excited about what was scary. You know, I sent out a couple of emails that was just like, hey, I am so sorry, but I can no longer move forward. And it was, you know, it's a scary thing because I'm imagining how it would hurt and disappoint people. But ultimately, every single time I'm rewarded because it's important to value yourself. It's important to embody and model valuing yourself. And it gives everyone in the whole system, because it ripples out, gives everyone permission in ways they don't even realize to also hold themselves to that high standard and treat themselves with the love and the self-respect that they deserve. There's a Lauryn Hill song, and in it she says, respect is just the minimum. The minimum. The respect is not for negotiation. And what I realize as I look at some of the different things that I've set boundaries around, whenever there's a problem with me not respecting myself, it's only a matter of time before it dissolves. Whenever it's a situation with other people not respecting me, it's only a matter of time before it dissolves. So one situation was more about like, girl, you're not loving yourself enough to be involved with this. And then the other one, it was more like that too, and they're not respecting you enough for you to be involved in this. And I'm like, yeah. And I gotta say, once you get a taste of setting boundaries, you get into it. Like, it feels good. It feels really good. It's been happening. It's been like growing, like it's been rumbling ever since that video last summer or whatever. It's just been rumbling and rumbling and rumbling. Like, yeah, I think I am gonna love myself. Yes. I think I'm gonna respect myself. Like, it's great. Thomas People shares this idea that when we are healing our trauma, because there's so many things in our life that are built upon all these shadow aspects of ourselves, parts that are unconscious, if we're not really making informed choices because we're just acting out of pain and hurt, all these things. When we actually heal, all of these things, relationships, jobs, where you live, where you like, all these elements, things that you built in your life upon these shadows, they will automatically dissolve. Automatically. Like, they are going to be gone from your life because there's nothing for them to stand on. The shadow has been cleared. And I feel like this has been a season of like, every time I heal a little bit more, something else in my life that I really was holding on to out of fear, it just goes away. It's interesting because some of the opportunities I'm like, man, but you know, it could have led to this, it could have led to that. And I'm like, yeah, but like, I know God is bigger. I know God is bigger than any of these things, both in that like the things that I think I want aren't gonna satisfy me actually, because nothing compares to the love that I already have in my own heart, and like ultimately nothing is really satisfying besides God. I used to have a much more diverse set of interests. I just got into sewing. I do have hobbies, y'all. I think I used to have a much more diverse set of interests, and I used to be more embedded in our world. I used to know what was going on with pop culture, with the news, with politics, even sports. Like, I would just know high level what was happening with sports. Did you know, y'all, there was a whole Olympics? I was walking by, the guy from my local bar was like, asked me something about track and field, and I was like, what? And I was like, let me Google what's going on. There's been a whole Olympics game going on? Just completely no sense. No sense of what's happening. Apparently there's a recession. Literally, it's just a whole, it's just narrowed and narrowed and narrowed and narrowed. And so all of like the relationships and the experiences that are not based on just being deeply rooted in the love of God are just, I just don't care. I just really don't care anymore. And it's really interesting to like mourn the part of me that used to really care while recognizing things change, we change, we're people, we're always evolving and growing. It's okay. And it's actually more than okay. It's really beautiful, and I can give myself grace and also celebrate the fact that as I'm getting older, I'm getting wiser, and I'm refining who it is to be chimney. As my friend says, I am becoming the chimneyest chimney that's ever chimneyed, which is my only job, and that's your only job for whatever your name is. Thank you for watching. Give this video a thumbs up if it resonated. Thank you to my Patreon people. Y'all remain the best. And let me know in the comments, do you set boundaries, or do you let people walk all over you? Is it because you weren't loved as a child? And are you healing it? Or are you like, you know what? I'm gonna keep letting people walk all over me, and I'm gonna see how that goes. I'm gonna just see how how long I can handle that before I'm like, ooh, I think it's time for me to cry really, really hard and heal all this trauma. I'm talking about myself, y'all. This was my journey. This was my journey. And I was like, okay, fine. I'll cry really hard and heal all this trauma. Okay, bye.